Hi, I'm Matthew, and this is,
I'm Julian.
and we are from the Singapore FinTech Association, the InsurTech Subcommittee. We're here today at the Insure Innovator Connect Asia 2025.
We're in Singapore today, and you can find out more on our socials to see all the coverage on this event.
Okay, so welcome, Vinay. Right, so we have here today Regional Managing Director of Allianz Partners. Right, so maybe to kick off this interview with a question: how is consumer behavior changing in Asia today, and how can insurers enhance consumer experience and engagement?
Matthew, good to be here,
Yeah.
and thanks for the opportunity to have this conversation. I think we have seen the consumer behavior evolve quite a bit in last decade, but especially post-pandemic, we have seen the increase in digital adoption and digital consumption of products and services go up exponentially. That's not just insurance per se, but we see that being the case everywhere. And with the use of more AI, generative AI, right, and being able to understand at a micro level then the needs of the customers, the expectation of the customer end has now moved away from give me a generic product to give me an ultra personalized solution, right? And that is a trend that is very real. And we see even within the insurance marketplace where it is all about risk pooling and it's all about looking at a larger cohort or a segment of customers, the expectation that the customer has is that we should be able to know what their need is, which life stage they are at, and what are the real solutions that can help their needs is what the customers are expecting. Secondly, we are seeing with digital consumption of goods and services, what is happening is they are quite open to move away from a pure advice model to say, I'm open to consuming insurance products and services through multiple channels. And it could be an embedded in the purchase path. For example, if I'm going to book a travel, I'm happy to buy travel insurance from the airline website or the OTA, right? And I don't need to go and get the insurance
From my
policy through a
agent.
travel agent.
Okay.
But at the same time, if I'm buying a complex life or health product, I want to be able to get the advice that I need. But I don't want a generic advice. I want an advice that is to me as a Vinay, knowing me what my needs are, where am I in my life, and what objectives I'm trying to achieve by buying that product.
So curious, how would that specific product look like, right? When you mention specific to the customer itself.
So when I talk about hyper personalization, at the end of the day, from an insurance industry perspective, from a product manufacturing and how we manufacture product, it doesn't change much.
Okay.
But what changes per se is the kind of covers you might want. So for example, we need to be more flexible in terms of our product offering. We need to come up with modular solutions. These modular solutions help us customize the product for the end customer.
For the kind of features or sum assureds accordingly, is it?
One is that sum assured, the other is features. So give you a very simple example. I'm going on a trip right now to a beach. I don't need the ski cover. Correct?
Okay.
So if you throw it in and you charge me for it, that's useless for me.
Yeah.
But if I'm going on a ski vacation, give me the ski package because that is very relevant for the trip that I'm going to make. So knowing if a customer is booking a trip to Japan in the month of in the month of December, and we know that they're going to go to Niseko, there's a high probability they're going to go for skiing.
Yeah.
And rather than for the customer to have to tell me that they're going for skiing, wouldn't it be great with technology if we can ask the question, by the way, you're going for skiing, do you know your policy doesn't cover ski? By the way, we have a ski package for you, and you might want to have that one. To me, that is personalization.
Okay.
That is the kind of expectation the customer has to know them, who they are, what are they about to do, and therefore what product makes sense for them.
So this basically gives them a little bit. They enjoy the package a little bit more. They enjoy the product more as compared to just off the shelf and hoping it covers every single thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next question is, can you give us some examples of, you mentioned how AI is transforming the insurance industry, and how can insurers adapt to this rapid digital transformation?
So first and foremost, AI is here, right? And I think post-pandemic, especially with ChatGPT, AI has become the buzzword, right?
Yeah.
But I would like to reiterate, AI has been there for a long time. And as an industry, we have been using artificial intelligence for over 2 decades.
Wow.
But what
okay.
we were using was what I call it as predictive AI.
Okay.
Insurance industry is all based on looking at your past experience, past loss trends, past events to price the future risk.
Yep.
Correct? That's how we operate. And that, to me, is predictive analytics. So we have been using large language models and large data sets to actually look at past experiences to predict the future.
Yeah.
Right? And I call it the predictive AI.
Okay.
What has changed? That was completely invisible to the end customer. They never saw it. Right? What has changed today? Why has AI become a kitchen table discussion
Yeah.
is with the launch of ChatGPT and the consumer access to generative AI has really brought it to the forefront, right? And these are, again, if you look at it, these are use cases from a more curated content perspective, more ease of access, and more tailored answers, right? That's what generative AI does for us today, right? So from an insurance industry perspective, first and foremost, 90% of insurance companies as of today have had launched some sort of an AI pilot globally.
Yeah.
So every company is looking at it because today it is no longer a good to have, it is a must have in terms of looking at the solutions both from a quality of underwriting, from quality of customer experience and customer service, and looking at abilities to optimize cost
Okay.
in terms of delivery, right? So that's one. From a digital perspective, as I mentioned, right, as consumers are more willing to consume services in a digital ecosystem and a platform fashion, more and more insurers are embracing what I call it as a platform ecosystem approach, where it is not about you manufacturing everything that the consumer wants to consume. It's actually working with partners who can bring in or enhance your core value proposition as an insurance company to deliver one integrated solution to the customer. And I think that's a big shift. In the past, we would have always thought that, okay, if I'm an insurance company, my role is to just provide the insurance cover. That is not what excites the customer. Customer
No
wants
longer,
an
right?
customer wants end-to-end solution, right? They want preventative advice. They definitely want the insurance. They also want claims advocacy.
Yeah.
And maybe they also want to get surprised with some loyalty benefits. So how do we as an insurer look at that platform and ecosystem approach, identify our role within that ecosystem, and then clearly partner with the like-minded partners who can help enhance our value proposition to deliver that peace of mind to the end customer.
So if you don't mind me asking, how would that look like to the customer? That means what is end product, the features that you package for the end consumer, and how does it look like to him?
So give you a very simple example. In the past, when you thought about health insurance, right? You always thought about, okay, I give my health declaration, I get a health policy. If
Yes.
I'm not well, then my health insurer helps pay for my doctor visit and God
The
forbid my hospitalization and all
yes.
the good stuff. Fast forward today, health insurance is not only about remediation.
Okay.
There is a clear expectation from every health insurer that you actually help me live a more healthy life.
Okay.
And it's all about preventive care. How
Okay.
can you use smart devices that we have, the Apple Watches and all the smart wearables that we have to give me real-time input on my lifestyle habits, on my sleep habits, on the food I'm consuming, on the exercise I'm doing, and use that to give me the guidance, be my constant companion to give me the advice that actually I can live a more healthier lifestyle. And as a result, I may not have to make a claim.
Yep.
Right? And that's the paradigm shift. And in the past, it was not possible for the insurance companies to do it
Okay.
because it was too expensive.
Yeah.
Technology was not there. But in last decade, we have seen with the advent of wearables, right, between Aura Ring and your
Yeah,
Apple
the
devices and Whoop,
watch, yeah.
you see that there's so much data available. And with AI now, we can curate that data at a fraction of that cost and deliver
That to
an
the end consumer.
intuitive solution which the customer is happy to consume from us. And this, in the past, insurance companies would have never thought of that being their role. But today, every insurer thinks about wellness as a core part of the value proposition of the health insurance offering that
Okay.
they make.
Okay. So the next is with the rise of embedded insurance and digital ecosystems in Asia, how is Allianz Partners capitalizing on these emerging opportunities?
So I think platform and ecosystem, if we take a step back, right, platform and ecosystem is a very broad term. Right? So it's very important that we understand, first and foremost, when we talk about platform and ecosystem, what are we talking about? An ecosystem for me is a culmination of various products and services that addresses a particular need of a customer.
Okay. And the customer is an enterprise customer or
It could be a retail customer
Retail
and
customer.
it could be an enterprise customer.
Okay.
I will probably talk more from a retail perspective, but the same could apply to an enterprise customer
Okay.
as well, right? So once you understand that and you frame that, right, it is very important for the various players in that ecosystem to really understand what is their role. Are they an orchestrator of that ecosystem or are they a participant in the
participants?
ecosystem?
Okay.
If you are a participant, you don't dictate the ecosystem. You just bring your service, plug it into the ecosystem, and let the consumer consume it as part of the overall experience that the customer wants.
Yeah.
But if you are an orchestrator of the ecosystem, you have three key responsibilities. A, you need to build that affinity with the customer. The customer will come to the ecosystem because you have that relationship as an orchestrator. Second, you need to orchestrate the setup of that ecosystem in terms of which participants should be coming in and which participants should not be coming in. And third, you need to take the ownership of the end-to-end delivery.
Yeah.
So you cannot simply say, I'm the orchestrator, but by the way, I had that service coming from a third party and I cannot guarantee the quality because the customer's affinity is to you as an orchestrator of that
Yep.
ecosystem. So if you are the Amazon, for example, Amazon is an orchestrator of the ecosystem. When you buy a product on Amazon, you don't care who's the salaries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? How many times you actually know who's selling you the
Yeah.
product?
No. Yeah.
The product is there is a customer rating, and you have the peace of mind that Amazon is going to give me the quality
They're
of the
gonna
product.
curate the
And if I don't
quality.
like the product, I can return it, no question asked.
Yeah.
Correct? Now imagine if Amazon says, sorry, I don't know who the seller is on my platform, then you will never go to that platform.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important to understand that roles and responsibility. From sheer size perspective, right? Today, the embedded ecosystem distribution for the insurance industry globally is in the range of 80 billion to 120 billion,
Wow. Okay.
right? It's relatively small relative to the size of the industry.
Yeah.
But in next 7 years, this is going to go from 700 to 800 billion. So we are talking about 6 to 8x growth in this channel, right? And that is why it is a very important focus for a lot of players. Now, coming to Allianz Partners, our core DNA is embedded insurance. We are the original B2B2C insurer that you can think about. We have been doing B2B2C for last 40 years when it was not even fashionable, right? So what does it mean? Usually we try and work with a business partner to deliver the end value proposition to their customer.
Okay.
And that business partner could be an airline, it could be a retailer, it could be a hotel chain, it could be an auto OEM, it could be a mobile device OEM, it could be a bank, right? So on and so forth, right? So we always try and understand, right, what is the core objective that our business partner is trying to achieve for their end customer, and how does our product and services help enhance that value proposition? So that's the core we do. And what we have done in last 5 to 6 years in our business, we have completely transformed our business from being a line of business or a product-driven business to a platform ecosystem-driven business. And we have reorganized ourselves into 4 core ecosystems globally.
Okay.
And we look to then deliver these services through those ecosystems. And we believe we have the right to be the orchestrator of those 4 ecosystems. And hence, we have kind of reoriented ourselves. Very briefly, those 4 ecosystems being mobility.
Okay.
And that means end-to-end, all things mobility. So micro mobility, electric mobility, peer-to-peer mobility, sharing mobility, you name it, right?
So what is the exact definition of mobility? To move from one platform to
Yes,
another?
exactly.
Okay.
So what does mobility mean? It is not about in the past, when you thought about motor insurance, you had to own the car to get motor insurance. What we are saying is the need of the customer is to go from point A to point B.
Okay.
They don't need to own the point of transport. And
Okay.
by the way, they don't need to be on one mode of transport to go from point A to point B. In the morning, you leave your house, you might be on an e-scooter, you
Yep.
get to the train station, you jump into the MRT.
Yeah.
On the other end, you might take a Grab to get to your office.
Yep.
This is multi-modal mobility. How do we provide service throughout for you so that you have that peace of mind, irrespective of the mode of transport, I'm covered,
Okay.
right? So that's mobility. Second is travel and leisure, right?
Yeah.
We are world's largest travel insurer. We have the world's largest travel assistance platform. So we believe when you think about travel, leisure, vacation, holiday, or even work trip, we should be your go-to partner.
Okay.
Right? And again, the journey doesn't start from the time you buy the ticket and then you need travel insurance. The
The
journey
intent-
starts when you start thinking
Yeah,
about
thinking
where should I
about
go.
yeah.
For me, my customer journey starts when they finish one vacation because that's when they start
think
thinking
of
about the next
vacation,
one.
Yeah.
So how can we help them curate where to go, what destinations are safer destinations,
Okay.
which time of the year you should be going. And then once you decide to go there, how can we partner with you to aggregate all your itineraries? Because you might have event tickets, you might have train tickets, you might have airplane tickets. We bring everything together in one ecosystem for you, so that if there is a strike in Paris and you are supposed to be there in 3 days' time, we tell you, hey, there is a strike, by the way, 3 days from now. Here are the alternate options you should plan for. And you may have only bought travel insurance for your flight ticket,
Yep.
but I'm there to help you even on your train journey that
Yep,
you are
yep.
supposed to do. That is the approach. Third is health and well-being. And health and well-being is core. We are world's largest cross-border health insurer, when you think about it. So that's expat health insurer outside of United States. And we also have one of the largest health TPA network. And again, we think about wellness as our doorway into health,
Yep.
right? And last, we call it lifestyle. There we talk about mobile device, because this is the most important
Yeah,
thing these
nowadays,
days
right?
for us, right? And then we think about aging. So aging is becoming a real challenge, and how can we provide nursing and non-nursing care services? And last but not least is personal cyber. I think this is the biggest emerging risk that all of us face. When we
Yep.
think about platform ecosystem, digital consumption, we are exposing ourselves to so much of cyber footprint.
Yep.
I call it, as human beings, we need to be worried. We need to think about 3 things: financial hygiene, health hygiene and what I call it
Social.
a digital hygiene.
Digital hygiene. Okay.
And quite often we do not focus enough on the digital hygiene.
Yep.
And it is our role as world's largest embedded insurer to make sure that we can provide you that peace of mind from a cyber risk perspective at the cost of a cup of coffee a month. Then only you're going to buy it from me.
So I want to ask from a consumer standpoint, digital hygiene. Yeah, what kind of risk are we exposed to? Maybe you can shed some light there.
So look, the best way to think about this, and I'll use an analogy so that you can understand what I mean, right?
Yep.
This morning, you left your home, right?
Yeah.
First thing you do when you leave your home, what do? You lock the main door, right?
Yes.
Even though you live in a big apartment complex where there is multi-layer security, but you still lock the door of your house, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
You then drive your car, you go to your office parking, whatever parking, it is very secure.
Yeah.
But you still lock your car door.
Yeah.
But if I was to ask you, how many digital doors have you opened since this morning, would you be able to tell me?
The thing, three, four?
Yeah, but you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? Because every time you open an app on a mobile device, you open
Ah.
a digital door.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Every time you access a link or a website, you open a digital door. So if you don't know how many doors you open, how are you going to
How you
protect
gonna,
yourself?
how are you gonna lock it?
Right?
Yeah.
It's like leaving $1 million on the crossroad, and when that is stolen, you complain that money is gone, right?
Yep.
Because you never protected it.
Yep.
So the way we think about personal cyber is we need to think about how can we provide simple preventive care at the click of a button to our customer. Today, 80% of all digital access is through a mobile device.
Yes.
So for us, that is our biggest focus. Can we provide you a simple preventative suite that can actually reduce your chances of being exposed? And I'll tell you one simple golden rule. If I can anonymize your or mask your IP, I can reduce your chance of being exposed by 80%.
Wow. Okay.
So today, our solution that we are launching proactively in various markets is to make sure that you have an active VPN on your phone 24/7.
Aye.
So
Okay.
your IP is never exposed. Second is dark web monitoring. Today, we don't know, but I've been to dark web myself, right? And all of our information is available,
Is there? Yeah.
right? So how can we provide your peace of mind that if there is a positive match to your personal information that you can define with us, that we will notify you that, look, this information is already compromised, it is available. By the way, you should change your passwords or whatever.
passwords, yeah.
But not only that, we will also then help and resolve that in the dark web to try and make sure if we can clean that so that your exposure goes down.
Aye.
And third, even with whatever we do, we will all get exposed one day.
Yeah.
And you should be sad if you're not hacked one day because then you're not
No,
important.
not important, right? Yeah.
Right? So if you are hacked, what happens? I feel when a person is exposed in a cyber world, right, they are the most vulnerable. They don't know who to go to.
Yep.
You go to the cops, they can say, we can't help you.
Yes.
Because the criminal is sitting cross-border somewhere,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
You go to your bank, they'll say, okay, we'll lock down your bank account, but somebody stole your data. Somebody impersonated you on LinkedIn or on a social media platform. You don't have
Yep.
help. So what we are building is what we call it as a true cyber assistance platform. We will give you one number, your guardian angel that you can call, and that individual is going to guide you through. They may not have all the answers, but they will know the people who have all the answers and get you the most important help.
Okay.
And last but not least is as an insurer, we need to give you indemnification for the loss. So depending on the product you bought from us, we can actually pay for the loss you have had, financial loss, reputational loss, restoration of your identity and all the good stuff. Or you can consume those services by paying for it. But you will know that you are getting the service from the best in the world and you're not being scammed at the point of consuming service because you're vulnerable and you don't have to pay through the nose for those services.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, that was amazing. The next two questions would be: could you elaborate Allianz Partners' approach to strategic partnerships, and how do you identify and cultivate relationships that drive mutual growth and innovation? So this is a more macro perspective, right?
I think this is a wonderful question because if you think about partnerships, right? First and foremost, as an organization, we need to be self-aware what our core strengths are
Yeah.
and what is not core for us, and therefore we need to work with somebody for whom this is a core, right?
Yeah.
And more so in this platform ecosystem business, right? We need to be very clear. How do we bring the right partners that augment the capability and service offering that we have to make the ecosystem offering even more richer? So our approach to strategic partnership is quite simple. First, we look at where is our core strength and where are the areas which are either not our core strength or are things that the customer wants which we cannot provide. Once we identify those, we really look for the right partners in terms of making sure that we curate those partners, both in terms of their experience, the kind of technology they are bringing, because at the end of the day, it is the Allianz brand.
Yep.
That is what the consumer is
Yes, they're looking at.
kind of consuming that service from. So it is incredibly important for us to make sure that we bring the right-minded partners. Partners for whom customer is at the core of what they want to do, where there are strong ethics and values in terms of delivering, and there is longevity of service. Quite often, that's why we need to be very careful when you are really working with small, very, very small startups, because they are there today, but tomorrow they may not be there.
Yeah, they might not.
But once we identify a potential, then we not only bring them as a partner, we also bring our might as Allianz to support them
Okay.
to grow. Sometimes we co-invest in their businesses so that we can build sustainability into their business. Right? So there are multiple ways to going about it. To give you a few examples of the partnerships we have done, right? So in ASEAN and in Greater Southeast Asia, we have partnered with Boltec. Boltec is one of the largest insurtech. It is the largest insurtech in the
GI,
world,
right? Yeah.
And their core focus is mobile device. And as I told you, mobile device is very, very important for us, right? And I think it's for the consumer.
Yep.
What we have realized is that the agility that Bolt has in terms of being focused on only one specific element of the value chain, the kind of TPA network that they have in terms of providing customer the quality of service that they need when a mobile device is not working or it needs to be replaced, we soon realize this is not something that we believe we should be building.
Yeah.
We are much better off partnering with Bolt to really complement the capability of the two organizations to create mutual value, not only just for us and Bolt, but most importantly for the customer.
Yeah.
Because if the customer doesn't see value, then there is no value in that partnership. So when I talk about mutual value, the mutual value, there are four parties, right? It is us and the party that we are working with, but more importantly, it is the consumer and the society. Consumer needs to get benefit out of it. At some point, the society or the community needs to get benefit out of it. And obviously, commercially, it should be viable for both parties who are in that engagement, right? Yeah. So Bolt is a good example. Second example I'll give you is we partnered with a very young startup who were focused on harnessing satellite data.
Wow, okay.
In India, CI Metrics.
Okay.
And we wanted to use that satellite data for the real-time geolocation of our customer as well as our fleet. So we are the largest roadside assistance provider in India.
Yeah.
You can imagine the size of the country. We are the largest roadside assistance provider globally, right? So while you can use Google Maps and all the good stuff, but we were not happy with the kind of data we were getting, but also we wanted real-time congestion data, right? Again, looking at future rather than once a car break down, right? In order to be able to assess how much time will our partner take or my fleet take to rescue the customer, right? We wanted real-time congestion data, real-time weather patterns, right? What is the weather for next 2 hours, right? So we partnered with this startup which was using ground sensors and real-time satellite data to track weather patterns, to track vehicle movements, and we have partnered with them to use that data, ingest that data into our roadside platform to be able to provide better service. So these are a few examples.
To reach the incident faster?
Yes. So reach the customer faster. Sometimes you just cannot reach the customer faster because you are using the same roads that they are, but keeping the customer informed. Keeping them in the loop and not having them stranded and waiting for somebody
for 2 hours
to be able to give them a real-time fleet location, right? Real-time input on what is happening, and maybe use smart technology which we use now. Maybe if one of the providers from a geographic distance might be closer to the customer, but because of all this condition from a time that they will take is much longer, I might get somebody who's 20 kilometers further away from the customer but can reach there 20 minutes earlier. So it is being able to do all that, keeping the customer at the mind, customer's convenience at the mind, and making sure that we can have a customer delight at the end. That's the objective.
Nice. Okay, so to end this, looking ahead to 2030, how do you think the insurance marketplace will evolve? And what do you think are the strategies that will ensure long-term success and even future-proof an insurer?
First and foremost, insurance industry needs to really focus on moving the value proposition that they bring to the customer from a pure remediation, which is, okay, if something goes wrong, I will pay your claim, pay it quickly, pay it fairly, to what I call it as prevention. So I don't know, do you play golf?
As and when, yeah.
Okay, so if you do, you might have heard the term PAR.
Yes.
Right? So I have a PAR term for insurance industry.
Okay.
And what does PAR mean from an insurance perspective? It is prevention, assistance, and remediation. And think of it as a pyramid. Right? The industry is spending all the time and energy on remediation. Right? But the real customer value, customer affinity, and the attribution is in prevention. Right? So as an industry, when we look forward, the most important thing is we need to focus on prevention. Whether it's well-being for health, whether it's proactive advice on your trip that is coming up, or even being able to tell that your car battery level
This is
Overnight
low.
is at 50%. Tomorrow, we know you have a very important meeting at 9 o'clock. It is, if you want, I can try and get you somebody at 8 to look at your battery, or I can make an alternate arrangement for you or for transport so that you don't miss your meeting. Can you imagine what kind of customer delight
Yeah.
will that give to the customer if you can give that insight through a simple mobile message or WhatsApp message to the customer the night before when they're going to sleep?
You'll be an excellent service.
Or to say, hey, while you were sleeping, we found 2 positive matches in the dark web for your data. Don't worry, we took care of it. Have a great day. That to me is the real future of insurance. And I think more and more insurance companies need to focus on prevention being the core, right?
Yeah.
Now the question is, how do you enable that prevention? This is where, to me, is the second point. We see IoT, connected devices, and AI being the core of or core source of our ability to be able to deliver these services in a non-intrusive manner to the customer and in a cost-effective manner to the customer. Because if it costs me too much money, I cannot provide this service for a price that you will be willing to pay me. So it is very important that we look at the combined usage of IoT, connected devices, and artificial intelligence in being able to harness this data that we get on a real-time basis to provide those solutions to the end customer. The third trend that we are seeing is clearly we are seeing from that there is a growing demand to address the protection gap, right? And here we really need to focus to make insurance affordable. Unfortunately, the cost of providing insurance is still too high. As a result, we can only address a very small segment of the customer base today. So how, as insurance industry, can we really drive penetration by using technology to curate products? I call them micro products. I call them pocket-sized products. Something that you can buy for $1 a month, right? That can give you basic protection that is needed, right? And we need to increase the reach of insurance. The protection gap is real. I talked about the economic loss versus insured losses. In Asia, the economic losses are usually 10x the insured loss. Whereas globally, this gap is only 3x. So it tells you how much is the protection gap.
Yeah.
So for us as an industry, we really need to look as how do we use technology to drive protection, to drive or lower the protection gap for the end customer. And last but not least, for me, it is about hyper-personalization. At the end of the day, nobody wants to be treated as a number, right? And nobody likes to be sold something. You want to buy something because you feel it is important for you. And again, here technology has an amazing role to play to give those insights on customer behaviors, link different elements of the data that is available for the customer to enable the industry to provide those need-based solutions to the customer where insurance now becomes a pull product rather than a push product. And I think this will really transform the industry.
Thank you for all your insights, Vinay. I hope that there's value that everyone else outside here watching this interview will be able to get. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed our podcast review just now. This podcast review is brought to you by IIC, SFA, and MESSION.
And we hope you enjoyed the Insure Innovator Connect Asia 2025 in Singapore. We sure did it.
We're looking forward to meeting you again in our IIC future events. See you next time. See you next time.
See you. Cheers.